My greatest fear at 59, losing strength and with it my physical independence. A lot of people still think that recovery means rest. And I know from previous occasions that if we stop using our body, we start losing muscle almost immediately. Right now, I can't use my left leg due to a broken ankle, and after 17 days in hospital, I still have to spend most of my day in bed. But I'm determined not to let myself become weak, and in this video, I want to show you exactly what I'm doing to rebuild strength, protect muscle, and stay mentally strong during my recovery. My name is Sibyl, and this channel is about my unconventional life journey, adapting to constant life changes, navigating reinvention, healthy aging, and building a meaningful life solo and on my own terms. If you watched my previous video, you know already that I recently fractured my ankle badly enough to need surgery. Back home in rural Bulgaria, I am still largely confined to bed for a few weeks. As a health coach and Pilates instructor, I do know this. Bed rest and keeping the leg still may be necessary for healing the bone, but complete inactivity certainly is not. Your body is designed to heal itself, and the healthier and stronger you are, the faster it'll do its job. Your body adapts incredibly fast. Unfortunately, that works both ways. If we challenge it, it becomes stronger. If we stop using it, we lose muscle very rapidly. It's like anything in life. Use it or lose it. One thing I want to emphasize is that my recovery didn't begin when I got home. Only a few days after surgery, I made a conscious decision to actively participate in my recovery. Sure, I had to respect the restrictions on my ankle, but I could move the rest of my body, and there was plenty I could do. The first week, my body had to deal with the post-surgery effects and drugs such as pain meds, daily antibiotic and clot injections, anti-clot injections. I felt exhausted and weak. So I started with gently muscle moves and stretches 2 to 3 times a day, just lying on my back. I would gently tense and release my abdominal muscles, hold for 6, release for 3, and repeat that 5 times. I would then contract my glutes, hold for 6, release for 3, and repeat that 5 to 10 times. I would tighten my quadriceps, pushing the upper thighs and the back of the knee into the mattress. Again, hold for 6 and release for 3, rinse and repeat. I would wiggle my toes and move my good ankle in circles to encourage circulation and maintain some muscle activity. These exercises seem tiny, but I promise you they condition your body effectively. When done consistently, you will quickly notice the results. I added a demo of my at-home routine at the end of this video. It's really important to keep muscle groups engaged to prevent rapid decline. But exercise alone isn't enough. Healthy eating is key. Muscle mass is built from protein. And we are not talking MasterChef kitchen term here. I found that too many of my clients are still confused. Dietary protein is the macronutrient we get from the foods we eat. It's not just found in meat and fish. You can definitely achieve the right amount of protein the body needs on a purely plant-based meal plan. As we age, maintaining muscle mass becomes increasingly important. In fact, every year, starting at age 50, we naturally lose about 1% of our muscle mass. Without targeted resistance training, it means 10 to 15% muscle loss per decade. When injury, surgery, and bed rest are added to the equation, preserving becomes even more critical. Fortunately, muscle loss is not inevitable and can actively be reduced or even reversed through consistent lifestyle choices at any age. One of the first things I did once back home was watching my protein intake, making sure I consume at least 25 to 30 grams of quality dietary protein per meal. In hospital, I was getting 10 to 20 grams per day. So what is high quality dietary protein? When you eat foods containing protein, your digestive system breaks the nutrient down into its building blocks called amino acids. There are actually 20 different amino acids, and your body can make some of them, but it cannot make those 9 essential amino acids. You must get these essential amino acids from your diet. As a nutrition coach, I also pay a close attention to the composition of my meals, meaning the right balance in macronutrients. I call them macros per meal. Macros are carbs, carbohydrates, protein, and fat. The standard baseline for most healthy adults is 40% carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fat. Hydration is also critical, at least 8 glasses of water. Vitamin D and calcium, vitamins and minerals, and of course, portion sizes versus daily energy burnt. Sounds complicated, but because I've been teaching myself and others to stay healthy for over 16 years, I don't need tracking or calorie counting. It's a way of life now. My diet is mostly plant-based, and I make sure every meal contributes to building that muscle mass, essentially for overall health and recovery. Here are a few examples of what do I eat. Of course, protein-rich breakfasts, hydration strategies. I take also a couple of supplements. It's not the time to diet, it's a time to heal. And the body needs building blocks and all the help it can get to recover. Physical recovery is only part of the story. The mind needs more attention too. Injury creates uncertainties, loss of independence, frustration, anxiety, sometimes even fear and loneliness. So I intentionally create small daily rituals and started journaling while I was still in hospital. Using the journal app on my iPhone, I began recording my thoughts, observations, my gratitude for any human kindness and small victories, as well as daily challenges. And I'm glad I did, because when you are in the middle of a difficult experience, it's easy to forget how much progress you are actually making from day to day. Every day I take one positive photo. Every day I write down 3 positive things, or at least most days. Sometimes they are significant. Sometimes they are tiny. A good conversation, a beautiful sunrise or sunset, completing successfully an exercise session, a little less swelling, a little less pain, a little bit more mobility. And then I read, I watch uplifting content, I seek laughter. Comedy is such an underrated medicine. And because I suddenly have more time than usual, I allow myself a few more small acts of self-care, more intensive pampering, eye and face mask, long showers, and applying a soothing body lotion all over. Not because they heal the ankle, obviously, but because it feels nice and really helps me feel human. And when possible, I spend time outdoors, enjoying the sunshine, the greenery, the fresh air, the breeze, all reminders that recovery is temporary. Begin with leg flutters. Lie comfortably on your back with your hands by your sides Engage your core and alternate lifting each leg in a steady, fluttering motion. Aim for slow, controlled movements rather than speed. And here's the end of this movement at a faster pace to speed up this video. For Pilates 100, bring your legs into tabletop position, lift your head and shoulders if comfortable, and pulse your arms while breathing steadily. Complete 5 sets of 20. And here's the 100 again at a faster pace to show the full routine. Plant both feet on the bed, keeping the weight off your injured leg, and tighten your glutes. Then lift your hips toward the ceiling. Hold for 30 seconds before lowering with control. Repeat 3 times. For dead bug, keep your core engaged while extending one arm and the opposite leg. Return to the starting position and alternate sides. I complete 10 repetitions and repeat the set 3 times. Again, keep it slow and controlled. And here's the movement sped up to finish. For the upper body workout, I strap on 1 kilo wrist weights and use 2 water bottles weighing about 500 grams each. Start with your elbows bent at shoulder height. Press the weights straight overhead before lowering them back down with control. I perform 30 repetitions for 3 sets. Here's the overhead press, just a little quicker. To finish, extend your arms out to shoulder height. Make 10 small circles forwards, just around that shoulder joint. Arms nice and high and firm. Reverse and complete 10 backwards while keeping your shoulders relaxed. Arms at shoulder height, elbows bent, weights towards the ceiling. Press the elbows out to side in line with your shoulders. Complete 10 repetitions. Pause and repeat. Extend your arms above your chest. Slowly bend your elbows to lower the weights behind your head before pressing back up. Let's finish up with a few gentle stretches. Sit tall, place one hand on the outside of the opposite knee, gently rotate through your upper body toward the other arm behind you. Repeat on both sides. Sit with your legs extended, your back nice and straight. Reach towards your toes, stretching only as far as feels comfortable. Repeat 5 to 10 times. Let's perform some slow shoulder rolls to release tension. To finish, extend one arm to the side with your palm facing up. Gently tilt your head away while supporting it with your opposite hand. This combines a neck stretch with a gentle nerve glide. Only count to 5 on each side. In conclusion, I cannot control how quickly my bone heals, but I can influence almost everything else. My strengths, my nutrition, my mindset, and that's where I choose to focus my energy. Recovery isn't passive. Recovery is something we can actively participate in. If you are recovering from surgery, injury, or simply trying to stay strong as you age, I hope this video has given you a few ideas. In my next episode, I'll share more about life in rural Bulgaria, what daily living looks like here, and some of the unexpected lessons I've learned since moving from Australia. If this story was helpful, or if you're curious about life in rural Bulgaria, reinvention, and navigating challenges later in life, please leave a comment and tell me where you're watching from. If you'd like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it too. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'll see you in my next video.